Let's talk a little bit about e-commerce marketing. Now we've got our page moved up, and now we want to get some people going to our website to buy stuff. The first time I was looking to do a website, you had to buy a license for your e-commerce. Is that still a thing?
License for the software you're saying?
Yeah, that did the whole, like you had to pay to the internet. It was like a 10, 11 something. There was an actual number attached to it that it was when you're using this type of software, you had to pay.
Well, you need your payment processor.
Yeah.
There will be that. And
It was some type of certificate for a piece of software that worked on your website that you had to pay for. This is like 10 years ago.
Right.
So.
Yeah. There'd be the licensing for the software you use. There's going to be what we just talked about, but really for your e-commerce, it's going to be coming down to picking the platform that works best for you. I recommend WooCommerce because I'm a big WordPress guy, and it works right on top of that. There's other things that you can also use if you're going with WordPress, like SureCart. It might be a little bit more simple. WooCommerce can be very complicated. Shipping fees for plugins, things like that, you will have costs there as well. Credit card fees, of course.
Right. So does more complicated mean can do a lot more things?
It can't. Yeah. Like with you, the sky's the limit on what you can develop on top of WooCommerce. Like my business partner and I were once discussing how you could possibly have a subscription service right on your website.
Right.
It's gonna be that would be a huge task.
Undertaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do believe that it's a possibility, but it's also that is something you're looking at a large investment into your business.
So the other thing I'm looking at, what about like attaching, like Shopify is really big now. Like how easy does Shopify integrate with a website, or are they the website?
They would be the website. Technically, you could have a separate website that links over to a shop dot. You just put it on a subdomain and make that your store part of the website, and then you have maybe a local part of the website as well. But Shopify can be your all-encompassing website. You will need a Shopify specific developer for a lot of these things. If you want to get into something a little bit more complicated, they do have their own markdown that somebody would need to have an education on to work with.
But I could create, so I do have a domain, which just, all it is it just points to the Shopify store.
Right.
But since I have that domain, I could just put a website there, and just when the shop button, just that will be the point.
So what you would do is make a subdomain, and then you point the subdomain to your Shopify, and then you would point the main domain to your regular website.
Okay. Where does the domain live?
The domain is with your registrar. So you have a lot of registrars out there, like your GoDaddies, your Intuits, and everything else.
I don't know who Shopify uses, but it was somebody else. It wasn't
Shopify
them.
may be their own registrar. They may be a reseller.
I think they're a reseller. I went through them, but I think there was another company name. I'm not exactly sure because I wasn't paying attention. I was just trying to get it up and running. So we probably skipped over some things on the hosting of the website.
So your
That's
domain.
That's where I was getting at.
Right.
Where
A lot
it
of people
lives.
get confused by that. Your domain, your hosting are two separate things. Your domain registrar holds your domain, and then your web host will actually be the landlord, essentially, of your website. Think of it, here's the address, here's the land, and they point to each other.
Okay.
So you can get good web hosting for WordPress, but you can also get bad web hosting for your website or any other platform you're using. The big thing to look at is who's going to give you the best support for what you need. If you just need to get something slapped up simple on the web, you can probably get away with using one of the crappier web hosts out there. I'm not going to name names, but their support isn't going to be all there for you.
How about we name the people who give the better support?
Modularity Networks, for one. But
so you actually are a hoster. You host.
I do host websites. I do have a separate part of my business that we do hosting. ModularityHosting.com would be where you could go for that. I do charge a little bit more of a premium, but I'm also helping you I'm hand holding my customers a lot more. I'm offering that support directly to them, and I'm typically building the websites for them as well. But you can go to your other WordPress specific hosts out there. A lot of them are very good. Others, they're not so good.
I've seen a bunch that, like, is it Squarespace? Is like a big hoster and you can make your own website, but I went there, I was going to build one, and it really seems so cookie cutter. Like, they make it easy because it's all these templates and you just put them together, but then yours looks like everybody else's because the best templates rise to the top, right? They even say most popular. I kind of want to have a kind of a unique look and feel. I like super clean, which they do. They do a lot of that super clean, but I also want unique.
Right. You can go with these web builders, your Squarespaces, your Wixes, your what have you, all those.
I had a tough time with Wix, man. Everybody said it was really easy.
I honestly, I don't recommend them. I'm a little biased, but I always will recommend WordPress because you can customize it the way you want, even if you aren't too technically savvy. Squarespace might be good for you if you just want to get something up and running. And they kind of have some developer tools in there if you want to get a little crazy, but I've seen some problems with SEO from Squarespace as well. Right. You can try them, but your website's also going to be locked into their rules.
Right. If you're going to be selling on your website, it's still, like, I don't know a lot about the whole back end and how to make things happen, but I like to think I know a lot about business. If you're going to sell online, you got to be up top in the Google. Like, for me, I want to move up in Google so that but if they're searching for a comic shop in Port Jervis or near me and they're in a 50-mile radius, I'm going to come up. I mean, I've never been left off because I test it from time to time. But if you're going to sell online, which I'm going to move to that, not huge, but I'm going to move to a little bit of that. I definitely, then people are not searching like near me. They're searching
the product itself.
The product itself, and then knowing what to call each product, and then and then how to make that really crystal clear so that whatever somebody types in. Listen, we have to be honest with ourselves. We sometimes type in the most ridiculous crap, and then you're like, that's not what I asked for. Yeah, it kind of is what you asked for. People are not really specific about. A thought comes into their head and it might not be a complete thought. They might be looking for a comic book but can't remember the name of it, or a movie, or a video game. Like, I have a lot of SKUs. Everybody knows I've got a ton of SKUs. And if they're looking for, I want that video game that was made by Blizzard in 1993. So, like, if I'm listing stuff on all that information has to be in there for it to search for it, right? It has to be able to.
You do need to put your product descriptions in there as clear as possible so you can get picked up on these searches.
Right, because somebody might say, hey, look, I really love Blizzard games. I played 4 Blizzard games. I'm just using Blizzard because one comes right to the top of my head. I don't play any Blizzard games, but they're a predominant maker. So, and somebody says, I really love the last 3 Blizzard games. What Blizzard games are available? And they might just search that. And so, like, I should have that on there. And then maybe people are saying, well, I just, I got a PS2. I want to buy PS2 games for my retro system. I have 1,000 PS2 games. So I want to have PS2 predominant. So, like, all these things. And what type of, like, data sheet? Is this something that can be, or do I have to type out each time? Or I have to build that database originally? Or is there these databases out there?
I would definitely at least make yourself a little spreadsheet of your inventory that you have and then upload it into your website, as opposed to, I'm going to make one individual listing. That's going to save you a heck of a lot of time right there. As opposed, like, if you're like, are you trying to say I have a supplier to get those from?
No, I have them, and then I'm getting to a point that I won't have enough space on floor. So a certain, like, my doubles and triples will go online, and they won't be on the floor for sale at all.
Okay.
So as they sell from the website, they'll be able to be picked up locally or shipped through the website. So that, like, am I going to have to build each one of those particularly to like have a picture, and then nobody wants to see all that garbage. Like, how deep do you go? Like, you know, I'm thinking that maybe even I need to put who the actual designers were, because some people just buy certain designer games, especially the Japanese games. Like, there's certain guys that people want to buy their game, and they don't even know all the games they make. So then we're also a spot for knowledge if we have all the.
And that could be a good point. That's something I ever thought of. Just put, oh, here's the developers, here's the names of the people who worked on the game. That might actually help you. I don't see many websites aside from like 1 or 2 credits websites out there for finding people like that. So
I'm just thinking of all the things that people Google. I know that when the creator of Dragon Ball Z passed away.
Akira Toriyama.
Yeah, and it touched a lot of people. He touched a lot of people. Dragon Ball Z's been around since what, the early 90s?
80s.
Really?
Yeah.
Into the 80s?
Dragon Ball itself, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So Dragon Ball before it was Dragon Ball Z. That's like 3 generations.
Yeah.
Like, and everybody was probably Googling him to find out more information about him, especially when they heard about it, and then probably buying something because of it, like in remembrance.
Definitely.
I know eBay blew up. Like, Dragon Ball stuff just blew up crazy. Sadly, I didn't get to jump on that. But again, that's the not having enough time to do all the things right. If you have all that information already on all your stuff, as things like that occur, then it's the same with comic books. When a particular artist or writer passes away, there's a big, like, people start searching him and trying to get some of that stuff before it goes insane.
Thing is, you can't get everything into your header on your website. Your H1 is really what Google wants to look for to see what this page is about. Be descriptive of your products, be descriptive of what you're trying to sell, but don't try to cram everything into one little spot, because they're gonna see right through you.
Can it be like where you have like just the game and the price and, like, you know, a little bit of information, but when you click on it, then
You can add more to the descriptions.
each page could be the individual?
Think you see this, you ever look up a recipe online and it's just the longest spiel of every little bit? The reason they're doing that is SEO. If you really want to get those keywords in there, make them your H2s, possibly your second headers. There's a hierarchy of what you want to look for building these out. So say you're even writing an article, your H1 is the title. That's what it's about. But then you want to put those other keywords into your other headers across the page. So maybe that can be the artist and everything else you were talking about too, further down into the descriptions. SEO is really a long-term investment, and you shouldn't think, oh, I put something out right now and then tomorrow Google's gonna say, oh yeah, those guys, let's rank them to the top. It can take 6 months, it can take a year, it can take longer than that. And you just need to play by their rules.
Right, and not get discouraged.
Right.
Because like whenever it's a long-term play, you just have to put your nose down to the grindstone and keep at it.
Yeah, and make sure you got also a Google Search Console going for your SEO too, because if that's going to help you know what pages on your website are actually indexed.
Oh, wow, that's.
Just look up Google Search Console, you'll find it. You'll be able to register your website with it. You'll get your sitemap running on that, so it sees the pages that you build as soon as you bring them in, and then check it every week to make sure you're actually being indexed.
Oh, there. That's a great point. Now that we've got the e-commerce set up, we've got all of our keywords and everything, and SEO is working, let's talk about advertising. What am I doing advertising-wise to generate? Is it just Google Ads, you think, or do you think that there's other outlets?
You should also be looking at Facebook and Instagram. So Meta's Business Suite will give you what you can put a tracking pixel on your website, and then you can capture the demographic that you're looking for. So everybody who came to your website, you have that data. Everybody who came to your website that looks like that particular customer, you have that data. You go back to Facebook and say, I want to create a lookalike audience based on this data. You can do that, and then you can target those people. you can target people directly in your town, directly about certain topics they like and things like that. For social media ads, I would not go outside of Facebook right now. I would not touch X for advertising. Right. It's kind of, advertisers are not happy on there right now.
Well, I'm not on there anymore. I mean, I didn't delete my thing, but I never post on there. I just don't see that. I'm looking at Marvel and DC, and they're getting 3,000 likes. When Marvel and DC can't break 3,000 likes, what am I going to get? Like, I'm going to be better if I get 4 likes. That would be exciting. Oh, so I'm looking at it. You know, I'm going to go back to it again. How busy I am. Where is my best use? You know, time, and time is worth so much to me.
Oh yeah.
You know, am I going to make something for X and then send it up, and you know, what am I getting out of that? And even big companies are getting nothing, and that's just organic reach. So I don't even know, like, the ads are not targeted to me. The ads that I get when I'm on X really have nothing to do with me. I don't even know how they're getting that information, because I've not clicked on one because they just don't fit anything that I want or I need. I've clicked on a lot on Instagram. I think Instagram for me, like, has sent me a lot of stuff that I want. They know I'm a business owner. They send me a lot of stuff that's for business owners. And they know I'm into comics, so they'll send me, you know, I'll get a little bit of that. There's like not a lot of guys in comics are really advertising. I know for sure that Marvel and DC are not, they're 100%, I can't say, I want to pull back. Not 100% organic, but probably 95% organic. It is only when a specific, and usually I think it's probably the ads I'm seeing from Marvel and DC are about their video games, which are probably the advertising paid for by the video game company, who are just licensing the title. And you know, Marvel and DC is hoping they're getting some kind of like secondary push from that advertising. But like, you know, what you were saying about X, I find that true through my own experience.
Right. And Facebook and Google know more about you than you know about yourself. It's the unfortunate reality.
It is. Now I want to see is there anything that I might have missed in what you do and what you can provide to a business that businesses may not even think of. I had an insurance agent on several weeks ago, and there was so much. And like, we've already got a couple of things that I didn't know about, but is there anything else that you wanted to hit on and talk about?
Make sure your website looks very professional, I would say. Nothing is going to turn your customers away faster than a website that just doesn't make sense to them.
Right. Well, it's that trust thing, right?
Right.
If people think your website is schlocky, that you don't maintain it well, or you know, they're afraid then to buy and make sure that they're going to get their item shipped. If the website works well, it's intuitive, they like, you know, that's why I was afraid of doing it sooner. I'm getting closer and closer to getting there. I'm not there yet, but we are getting closer. And we want to step up all of our online game, because, you know, we've talked about, you know, we want to become a multimedia company, so we want to be able to advertise our comics and our films. You know, we want to do a full-length film, and we probably want to do some short films too. So the best place to put all that stuff is on the internet.
Yep, it's the new marketplace of the world, so it's not going anywhere.
True. Now, the other thing, when you talked a little bit about the clipping, what I did notice on shorts is that you can embed, I don't know if that's the correct word, but you're able to put the video that's from attached to the short. So if they want to see the whole video, they can automatically just go right to it, which, you know, I've tried to do with other shorts, trying to generate interest back to the whole YouTube site. But I think what you're talking about in clips, this might work really good, because we have 380 videos.
That's a library.
Yeah, so I mean, we could really definitely start clipping them up and using them as shorts, driving people back to some of our older videos that were evergreen. just want to fit this in this video about content, evergreen content. And I got, this was brought up to me from Tales from the Flip Side. They liked where the show used to be on all the time. They said, the evergreen content, people can come to it years from now and still watch it, right? And that's the kind of content I like. So not all my older content is like that. Some of it's about recent comic books or unboxings and stuff. And they're great for short-term videos once you have a following. But for long-term videos, growing your brand, I think definitely evergreen is where it's at. Do you have a kind of a take on that?
Keep making good content, really. That's what it's going to come down to. Is I agree that you're going to need that content that lasts forever, but you're also going to need to pad that out because you're not going to make a banger video every single time.
Right. It's a big thing with, I'm a big fan of comedy, and I love political humor, but it doesn't translate 10 years down the road. You're watching videos of some of these old political comedians and they're telling jokes, and the new generation doesn't even know what that attaches to. I might still find it funny, but like it's not evergreen stuff. When I'm gone, it's like a lot of stuff. There's certain collectibles that may never come back just because that whole generation has died off now. And, big band music. If that comes back, that'll be big pie in my face because I've thrown away so many big band albums. So this has been a great conversation. If I want you to give them your socials, so if they have a question for you, and they can contact you, and maybe you can give them a heads up on where to point them and how to fix their problem.
Yeah, ModularityNet on everything. ModularityNet.com is my website. You can come on over, read our blogs on any of the topics we talked about. A lot of it I've already covered, so I have good content there for you as well. And yeah, social media, ModularityNet. I
really appreciate you coming out, Ryan. This is a topic that we wanted to talk about for a while, and we have 45 videos. We're actually going to move this one up. If you guys didn't already know, I mean, most of you do, that most of these videos have already played on YouTube, and now they're moved to our site. This is one of the newer videos, and we're going to move this up because I think this is really important for when you're opening up the business, that this is something you have to solidify in year one of your business, if not before you open your doors. So that being said, you know what I say, keep reading comics and open a comic shop.